I want to talk about a major theft from a mail facility at JFK Airport. 2 postal workers have now been arrested, and they're accused of stealing Treasury checks, maybe worth even as much as $40 million. News 4's Gus Rosendale joining us from the newsroom tonight with what else we've learned, Gus.
Well, Natalie, detectives with the NYPD tell us they were initially tipped off by a bank that red flagged suspicious deposits, and they ended up joining forces with federal authorities, and that joint effort led to arrests earlier today.
What you guys do? What happened?
Tonight, these suspects are accused of conspiring to steal more than 100 checks worth millions of dollars from the JFK mail facility.
We uncovered really a point of compromise, and that point of compromise was JFK post office.
Prosecutors believe it's the biggest theft at JFK since the famous Lufthansa heist in 1978, when about $6 million in cash and jewelry was stolen from the airport. United States Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, Breon Peace, said in a statement, criminals who cash in on checks stolen from the mail can expect to fill out change of address forms for the federal prison they will be calling home. 2 of the defendants, prosecutors say, worked for the Postal Service. 3 others are charged with endorsing and depositing what investigators describe as stolen checks issued by the U.S. Treasury, mainly heading to international destinations.
These are checks that people are waiting for. These are checks that people are waiting for their livelihood.
New at 6, we've learned that included Social Security benefits, COVID stimulus checks, and tax refunds. Indictments charge at least $4 million was stolen. However, NYPD detectives think a lot more was taken.
When we look at ledgers that have been recovered and phone records and the like, our investigative theory is that over $40 million has been fraudulently either obtained or affected. So it's a big number.
A team of local and federal law enforcement has been working on the case for the past year and a half.
These are individuals working at the post office that we entrust. We give really a sacred trust to, right? To deliver everything with integrity.
It is our calling these suspects dangerous. They say one had a loaded gun nearby when he was taken into custody. Live in the newsroom, I'm Gus Rosendale, News 4 New York. Chuck will send it to you.
Despite a lack of subpoena power and cooperation from village workers, Lori Lightfoot says her investigation uncovered a pattern of mismanagement and deception by Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
There was a concerted, systematic effort on behalf of Mayor Henyard and others in her administration to hide the true financial condition of the village of Dalton from the trustees and from members of the public.
The former Chicago mayor delivering her findings to Dalton residents who are weary but angry.
It's saddening that all this has been going on and no one stepped in to stop it.
Lightfoot, now a private consultant, was hired last April by Dalton trustees to probe alleged misuse of public dollars by Mayor Henyard, who did not attend the presentation. Lightfoot said $43,000 in Amazon purchases from a single day in 2023 that she first told the public about last summer were for ice rink supplies that were delivered to the village.
There's no inventory control system within the village, so we have no idea what happened once the things arrived.
Residents and multiple trustees at the meeting say an ice rink on Greenwood Road was completed in 2023, but that the public has no regular access to it.
We don't have any staff to operate it. We couldn't afford staff, even if we wanted to operate it, and it's inoperable. And we were wondering how the ice skating rink was getting paid for, but she would steady say, oh, we're using grants, we're using grants.
Lightfoot alleging a pattern of circumventing city policies, including a failure to gain trustee approval for purchases over $5,000, failure to comply with Freedom of Information Act requests, and a lack of a staff accountant. And she said the village has struggled to maintain its insurance policies because of late or non-payments.
The insurance carriers refuse to cover Mayor Henyard.
An attorney for Mayor Henyard acknowledged our request for comment but has not issued a statement.
What? Chaos erupting at a local board meeting outside of Chicago, with the self-proclaimed super mayor Tiffany Henyard at the center. People knocking over furniture and smashing monitors. A shocking scene to many who were inside.
It was scary. It was horrible. That's an embarrassment.
It should have never come to blows, and Tiffany should have never got involved.
In a statement, the Board of Trustees said they are, quote, deeply saddened and disturbed by the events that took place, and, quote, our hearts go out to the residents who continue to witness such turmoil.
This is Mayor Tiffany A. Henyard, the people's mayor.
It's just the latest in a long saga of public scrutiny for Henyard, who is also the mayor of the Chicago suburb of Dalton and Thornton Township supervisor. She's been accused by other village officials of misusing public funds on everything from a lavish one-day community event to billboards of herself. Under her leadership, the Village of Dalton's general day-to-day operating fund was $3.6 million in debt. That's according to an independent investigation commissioned by the village. Henyard denying those claims for months, and even vetoing a measure to investigate her last year, which was eventually overwritten.
We'll be victorious when all the dust clear. You see, mark my word.
But one day before the brawl, former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who was tapped to lead the investigation into possible mismanagement of Dalton's funds, released her final summary. Some key findings, including $170,000 in travel-related costs, which Lightfoot said produced no business opportunities, $51,000 spent at area restaurants, and more than $218,000 for Amazon purchases made with village credit cards.
I'm happy that the report is out so that the residents finally know some of the truth.
Regarding the brawl or Lightfoot's summary, Henyard did not immediately respond to NBC News' request for comment. She has previously said the financial accusations are political retaliation and has threatened legal action. But tonight, as she makes headlines once again and goes viral for fighting, there are renewed concerns about her leadership.
Okay, Adrian Broadus joins us tonight live from Chicago. So, Adrian, I want to pick up right there where you left off. What's next for this mayor?
Well, Tom, in the township where that fight happened last night, a judge ruled Henyard will not be allowed on the ballot for re-election when it comes to the role of township supervisor. The only chance she has would be a write-in campaign. However, in Dalton, which is about 6 minutes away from the township, she is still seeking re-election as mayor, Tom.
All right, Adrian Broadus here with that new report, and we appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Other news tonight, the former Stamford man who's accused of stealing almost $1 million in an elaborate DoorDash scam was shot to death Monday in New York. This came right before he was due in court in Stamford for a potential resolution in that case. News 12 Connecticut's Marissa Alter with the latest tonight.
David Smith was supposed to appear in Stamford Superior Court Wednesday morning to accept or reject a plea offer in his case. Instead, the state's attorney's office learned Smith was killed 2 days ago. New Rochelle police found David Smith shot several times in the chest Monday morning at the Heritage Homes complex. Police said a personal dispute led to the 22-year-old's death. They've since arrested 4 men in connection.
Community members did help with this, with calls to the police of the shots and descriptions of people running away.
Smith was living in Mount Vernon. He moved there after Stamford police arrested him in June 2023 in what one investigator called the most massive scheme he's seen. Smith is accused of scamming DoorDash drivers in California out of almost $1 million. Investigators recovered a large chunk of it, $733,000 in cash, when they seized 5 safes from his apartment. Police explained how the scam worked. They said Smith would use one of his many phones to place a fake DoorDash order in California. Then when the driver was on the way, Smith would impersonate DoorDash support and claim there was a problem with the order.
He would get them to click a link or go to a website, and then that essentially would turn over their credentials, their username and password, to him. Once he was in control of that, he would change the billing information and steal any funds that they had for deliveries they had done, basically steal their paycheck.
More than 700 drivers were scammed over the course of 2.5 years. Police said Smith also stole the identities of dozens of people to open debit card accounts where he transferred the stolen money. Smith was considering a plea deal in the case at the time of his death. His decision to take the offer or go to trial had been expected at Wednesday's court hearing. The details of the deal weren't made public. As for the over $700,000 in cash that was seized in this case, Stamford police still have that money. What happens to it and whether it will go to all the victims as restitution will be determined at a hearing in March. That's also when the charges against Smith will officially be dismissed. In Stamford, Marissa Alter, News 12.
David Smith's attorney, Frank Riccio, says that he was shocked to learn of his client's death. He told News 12 that, quote, he was a quiet, kind young man who I had the pleasure of knowing. I feel terrible for his family. And he ends with, what a tragedy.
New at 5. Georgia's new, tougher penalties against squatters are now the law of the land.
The new law comes after a series of Channel 2 Action News investigations exposed the loophole squatters were taking advantage of. Now, consumer investigator Justin Gray is looking into how local police departments are using their new powers to criminally charge squatters.
Karen, we've been reaching out to police departments, solicitors general, and local magistrates about this to see if criminal citations are now being written to squatters. Many of the departments tell us they are still trying to figure out how all of this is going to work, but South Fulton has already created a special task force just to go after squatters, armed with the authority of this new law.
I know everybody thinks you can go in the house and squat and sit there. That law changed the other day. That law changed the other day.
When police officers knocked on the door of this South Fulton home this month, armed with new powers to cite squatters criminally on the spot, the suspected squatters ran out the back door.
All these fake leases, and I got receipts for this, and I rented this. Nope. That's over with.
So we're basically putting these squatters on notice. The law has changed.
Y'all squatting in my house.
It was a very different scene earlier this spring when police were called to Paul Callan's DeKalb County home.
They'll break in your house and then use the law to stay in there.
Where is it? You had the lease, ma'am? Don't worry about that.
Yeah, bro, you got a full lease.
Police body camera video was rolling as officers were handed what they suspected was a fake lease.
So you got somebody with a fake lease?
Yeah, I think the lease is fake, but, you know, it's no way I can prove it.
So the officers just left, told Callens and the suspected squatter it's not a criminal matter.
This will take time. Like, we can't put you out because we're not here for that. And he have to deal with it with law courts and so like that. They shouldn't be in there for, you know, a minute. They should be, you know, out immediately.
Are you selling a squatter home right here? After an exclusive Channel 2 Action News hidden camera investigation and a series of viral Channel 2 Action News squatter stories, Georgia lawmakers rewrote the law on squatters, spelling out that this is a crime that must be dealt with in magistrate court in a matter of days, not weeks or months.
So this is no longer a civil matter. Once this law was passed, it has now became a criminal offense.
Hi, yeah, it's Justin Gray from Channel 2. Are you squatting in this home? No, I'm not. You're not? This is one of the first houses South Fulton police have visited under the new law just last week. They determined the suspected squatter is in the eviction process with the corporate landlord who is looking to recoup $60,000 in unpaid rent. You feel like you all can react quicker now?
Absolutely. I think with the current law that is now in effect, we will be able to react more proactively.
Let's go back to Paul Callan's home. Channel 2 Action News cameras were there the day marshals evicted Takesha Bailey from the house. But look what we found right down the street a few weeks later.
Criminal trespass notice. DeKalb Marshals, been evicted by the DeKalb Marshals office.
Jane Doe evicted here according to the paperwork, but look at the belongings. See anything familiar? How about the same suitcase? We noticed the luggage tag here, Takesha Bailey. That's the same woman at the other home. According to court records, the alleged squatters here claim to have been scammed. That's the same thing Takesha Bailey says about Paul Callan's house. Bailey told me in an Instagram message that she's no squatter, that she is a scam victim who was evicted from suspected squatter homes twice in a month.
So, yeah.
This is crazy. Like, I literally just spent half of my tax money to move in here. I'm here with my kids.
It's crazy because they're just going to find the next victim and get out of that one.
But under the new Georgia law, suspected squatters now will immediately be issued a criminal citation.
This is now, so y'all can pass the word around. All this squatting, the other day.
And so under the new Georgia law, suspected squatters are supposed to immediately be issued a criminal citation and have 3 days to present a lease. If that lease is fraudulent, this goes from a misdemeanor case to a felony. Another thing with the new law is that it doesn't have to just be the homeowner who reports this. Now anyone, a neighbor, an HOA can call police and say, we want you to investigate this squatter home.
And it looks like what you found, though, was some of the people renting the homes didn't know they were squatting. They were giving their money to a company that was being bad with them.
We see that in some cases. We also see people saying that, and that is what gets worked out in court. That is what these magistrate courts are going to decide.
Wow, a lot going on. Justin, thanks.
At the ports today, the federal government accusing local companies of smuggling illegal goods.
And KCAL assignment editor Mike Rogers live at the desk now. Mike, the group is accused of smuggling hundreds of millions of dollars in goods.
Counterfeit goods, drugs, illegal foods, according to the U.S. government. And according to the allegations, it's all a very sophisticated operation here. Basically, what they would do is load up these container ships in China with counterparts in China, put them on ships bound for the U.S. And once they got here, they would do a kind of a bait and switch on U.S. Customs and Border Patrol. I'll show you some video here today from the port where this press conference took place. Now, what the allegations are is that when they were leaving the ports of China, you have to put a security tag on your containers. And when the containers get here, they're not allowed to be opened or removed unless it's by the U.S. Borders Protection as they're searching the containers. Well, several of these containers would then have to be sent to secondary inspection. And that is where the U.S. government accuses the actors of getting that knowledge ahead of time, breaking the seal and replacing it with a counterfeit one, and moving the trucks to an off-site facility, an off-site warehouse, where they would then unload all of these goods. They would get the fake goods on, replace it with real goods, send it back to the port for the inspection by CBP. No one was the wiser. Well, here's what CBP found.
During this investigation into this smuggling, federal authorities seized roughly $130 million worth of contraband. And we conservatively estimate that the defendants who are charged here and their criminal partners in China smuggled more than $200 million worth of goods into the United States.
Yeah, now there are 9 people accused in this scheme. 8 of them are in custody. A lot of them have connections to local businesses. We're talking truck drivers, shipping companies, all of that. And we've reached out to several companies that were listed in the indictment for comment. 2 of them have not gotten back to us. 1 had a bad phone number. But all to say, you guys, there is a lot of people that are in custody now, in federal custody, facing these very serious charges. Border Patrol says once they got word where the phony tags were coming into, the shipping tags, they were then able to figure out where those goods were and raided the warehouses where the goods were allegedly being unloaded.
All right, thank you, Mike.
$75,000 people in Shelby County rely on federal benefits to feed their families. This is according to state data.
But crooks have stolen at least $150 million in SNAP benefits nationally. Fox 13, your money investigator Kate Beery learned that families can no longer get that stolen money replaced.
Nearly every family we met at this state office had a story of waking up and learning their benefits had been stolen over the past year. They were shocked to learn the federal government is no longer reimbursing families.
I was like, I'm hungry. Like, where my food stamps at?
Dominique Taylor told me someone stole her benefits 3 months ago. It took a week for her to get reimbursed.
My stomach is touching my back. Like, I could feel my rib cage and my spine through my stomach.
But last month, Congress failed to allocate money to reimburse families in 2025. States are allowed to fund the reimbursement for stolen benefits, but that will not happen in Tennessee.
As a state, we do need to protect our people, but more importantly, the federal government should do something about this because these are federal funds that are being allocated, through the state to the individuals.
We're punishing the victims.
University of Memphis professor Elena de la Vega studies poverty. Instead of having taxpayers replace the stolen benefits, she advocates for a more secure system at the federal level.
We can't keep paying for all of this.
A Tennessee spokeswoman told Fox 13 cardholders have had new protections since September, including freezing their cards when not in use and blocking out-of-state transactions.
I would like to see the state step up and take care of its people.
Families told us food is a necessity, not a luxury. In Raleigh, Kate Beery, Fox 13 News.
Well, a scam targeting the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program benefits of low-income families is being investigated as part of a large ring of multinational organized crime. CBS Philadelphia reporter Nikki Dementri has been following this story all week, and she has the latest on our coverage tonight.
For the last 18 to 24 months, the U.S. Secret Service says it's seen a rise in point-of-sale and ATM skimming. The agency believes EBT cards are easy targets because they don't have additional security features like a chip. In a statement from the Philadelphia office, it reads in part, quote, "The U.S. Secret Service works closely with our law enforcement partners to investigate cases of ATM skimming in Philadelphia and the South Jersey area. We encourage consumers to inspect ATMs, gas pumps, point of sale, and other card readers before using them."
It's something that was recently brought to our attention, but it seems as if when I heard about it from Community Legal Services, which was working on these cases, once we heard about it, it almost became as if we were hearing about it over and over and over again.
After City Council's last session before summer break on Thursday, Philadelphia Councilwoman Cindy Bass introduced a resolution calling for an investigation into the matter. The councilwoman is also calling for more oversight.
We want it to be transparent. We want to bring folks together and have these conversations, as I said, on the city, state, and federal level, and we want some action.
In response to the resolution, a Pennsylvania Department of Human Services spokesperson writes in part, quote, "DHS takes fraud prevention seriously and works diligently to ensure the benefits DHS administers gets to the Pennsylvanians who need them."
Now, the biggest piece of advice from agencies across the board is to report the fraud if you believe you are a victim of this scam. Here in Pennsylvania, you can also call 211 to connect to local food resources. We have all of that information on our website right now, cbsphiladelphia.com. Nikki Demetri, CBS News, Philadelphia.
So you posted this side table for $30 on Facebook Marketplace. What happened then?
Almost immediately, before I even had my finger off the posting thing, I got a text back from the person, and he said, "I'm very interested." And I said, "Would you like to see it?" He replied, "No, I'm out of town. I won't be able to pick it up until Wednesday, but I'm happy to give you an Interact transfer if you'll hold it for me."
Okay, and then what happened after that?
And so I said, okay, because I've accepted Interact transfers before with no issues. And I gave him my email to send it through, which I immediately got a reply that said, there's an Interact transfer for you from this person in the amount of $30.
And so you clicked through?
So I clicked through. And it went into another screen that shows you all the banking places that you can pick. And so I picked my bank and went into that account and signed in and went to deposit it. But there was a little, like a little circle circling around all the time. It kept saying, "Do not refresh this page. This may take a few minutes." In retrospect, I was thinking afterwards, a few minutes while I take all your money.
Oh, no. And is that what happened?
And that's what happened. And so he was... You're allowed, apparently, I find out now, through Interact transfers to take $3,000 a day from your account to pay on an Interact. And so this person was obviously aware of that, went into, I have 3 accounts, and tried to take $1,000 from each account. This bank that I chose is one that I don't use very often, and I chose to pick that bank rather than my usual bank for that reason. Probably, it's always in the back of my mind. I try to be aware of things that might happen, but I wasn't really expecting this. And so it went into overdraft. The bank had released the money, but then the bank was aware something was going on too. And I clicked out. I thought, this something's not right. This is taking too long. And I saw an email from my bank that said, sign in immediately and change your password.
That quickly?
That quickly. So I did that, and then I hung up and I called the number from the back of my debit card, and they advised me that there was activity on my account that was suspicious, and that they'd locked my account, and that I had to go to the bank in person to unlock it.
And so when you went to the bank, did you explain the whole situation to them?
Yes, I did, and they said it was very common. They said this happens. You're very lucky that you clicked out as quick as you did, that we caught it and that we pulled the money back, because if you hadn't been aware, like each day, you've given this person all your access now, so he can go in and change and take out money and go in tomorrow and take out another $3,000 from you. So if you aren't checking your account every day, this could happen to you. So
scam artists dialing up potential targets.
And they're pocketing thousands of dollars. News 4's Mecca Thompson joins us live. Mecca.
Jolie and Kevin, it's unclear how many people are involved in the scam, but police say the group is draining the bank accounts of many Oklahomans by impersonating bank workers and committing fraud.
It's in the tens of thousands. I don't have an exact dollar figure for you, but it's a significant amount of cash.
Oklahoma City Police investigating a group of alleged scammers swiping Oklahomans out of money.
We know of at least 2 we've identified, but there's other players in this.
Here's what they're doing.
They will go in and they will open an account in a bank, and then they will start phoning people from that bank. And it's not just 1 or 2 local banks, it's a variety of banks throughout the metro.
Court records identify one of the suspects as Morris James Perry. He was previously convicted in Oklahoma County for domestic abuse. The filings allege Perry scammed over $7,000 by acting like an employee from the fraud unit at True Sky Credit Union.
It's basically a new take on an old game. The victims fall for that, and then their accounts are very quickly drained.
Jessica Hattie Mills is identified as another woman allegedly involved, also with prior felony charges. In court documents, she's accused of scamming over $5,000 using the same phone game.
It's just a criminal trying to gain access to your money so they can steal it from you.
And while police know who some of their suspects are, no arrests have been made.
It's going to be conspiracy and fraud charges that they're going to be facing.
Investigators believe Perry was possibly recruited and involved with a fraud crew out of the state of Washington.
Don't fall for that scam. Always verify who you're talking to.
And court documents indicate True Sky Credit Union reimbursed 2 customers so far and are out of $5 grand as they seek restitution. I did try speaking with True Sky today and they declined to comment.
This morning, a lesson from J.P. Morgan Chase. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
This is why I think it's really important that you don't believe everything you see on the internet. There's no such thing as free money.
In late August, some Chase customers were able to withdraw money from ATMs by writing fraudulent checks to themselves, then immediately withdrawing cash before the checks bounced. Typically, only a fraction of a check's value is immediately available until the check clears, but a glitch at Chase allowed customers to withdraw much larger amounts in that time. Taking advantage of the glitch, which quickly went viral on social media, was essentially check fraud. And now the bank is taking legal action, suing 4 customers for a total of $662,000. In one case, a Houston man, over a 2-day period, was able to withdraw most of a $335,000 check, which later bounced. The bank says he still owes more than $290,000.
Chase was pretty on top of it. Within a day, it was all fixed, and people that were doing this were seeing big holds on their accounts or huge negative balances. Bank errors in your favor are almost never in your favor.
In court documents, the bank saying fraud is a crime that impacts everyone and undermines trust in the banking system. Chase takes its responsibility to combat fraud seriously. In addition to returning the funds, Chase is demanding the defendants cover the bank's legal fees and other expenses related to the glitch. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.